The $1,000,000 question: how do entrepreneurs transition from self-employed to owning a business that turns a profit? My name is Chris Waters, and this podcast has the $1,000,000 answer. Welcome to CEO Secrets. All right, Dean, welcome to CEO Secrets. I'm super excited to have you. You are a powerhouse in the state of Rhode Island. It's my understanding you opened up a Keller Williams franchise in 2000 and then later got involved in HomeSmart, and in 2019, you were also the president of the board of Realtors.
Yes, sir. Yes, Chris, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, did you buy a KW franchise?
So we're gonna, just propel forward. I'm actually the president and CEO of HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate.
Okay.
It was in 2000 that I brought Keller Williams Realty to the state of Rhode Island, and 7 years ago in 2014, I brought HomeSmart to Rhode Island.
Cool. How'd you get into real estate? What's your story?
So I've been in real estate now 32 years. And, I'm one of the fortunate ones that tripped on real estate early on. I was running a local video store back when there was such a thing. And one of my clients at the store was in real estate and suggested I give it a shot. So I did and never looked back.
That's cool. What part of Rhode Island are you in?
Central Rhode Island is where our headquarters is based, but Rhode Island's a pretty small state. So, ultimately we serve the whole area. We actually serve Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut from our locations. We've got 3 in the state.
Cool. So my entire dad's side of the family resides in Rhode Island.
Really?
Yeah.
Where are they?
So my dad owns a house near the ocean in Little Compton, Rhode Island, across from Newport.
Beautiful area.
It's like some property my great grandparents bought in the early 1900s.
Nice.
And then my grandparents lived down the road in Little Compton, and then I've got aunts and uncles in Fall River. Maybe is that it? Fall River.
Fall River, Mass. Yeah.
Or some. It's not in Fall River. It's It's near Fall River. It's a town that starts with an S. I forget the name of it. Somerset.
Swansea, Seekonk.
Somerset.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I told my dad when I went up there. He told me he was from Fall River. That's why I keep thinking of Fall River. And when I flew in to visit him one time, when I was older as an adult, I told him, I'm like, man, this is a really old, like kind of depressing town. I'm like, what happened to this place? So I guess when he was growing up, it was a booming area, right? Fall River.
Lot of history. Especially, fishing and what have you. So, a lot of the harbors and inlets there.
It looks like they're converting Fall River into more of like trying to, some of those old textile mills into like urban type apartments and things. Is that accurate?
A lot of revitalization going on.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of people are leaving New England to go south, like to Florida and Texas. Are you guys seeing a net gain or a net loss of population?
We're seeing transition like anything else, right? Ironically, there are a lot of people that are going south just, because of the weather. But there are also a lot of people that are looking at Rhode Island as an opportunity for investment, coming out of Boston, coming out of New York, areas like that. So, the affordability level allows it to remain pretty competitive in that regard.
I think I read, was it Rhode Island had one of the highest unemployment rates in the United States at one point recently?
It's ranking on the charts, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you invest, right? Like, like when you're comparing it to any other state, it's like, that's where you want to be investing.
Yeah. Well, in the market, we're seeing across the country, I'm sure you're seeing it, across the country, we're seeing the low inventory is really creating a frenzy in the marketplace. We've got under 750 single family homes on the market in the entire state right now. So the competition is fierce when it comes to buyers who want to buy and the lack of inventory that's available to them. So investment is always a great opportunity. However, pricing is being determined by the lack of inventory. So tougher to find an investment if you're trying to, get a good deal, if you will.
Yeah. What are there new employers moving to the area? Is that getting better?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got a number of folks that are moving into the state with different companies and building headquarters locations. And, so Rhode Island is a great place to be when it comes to, you look at the strategic aspect of its location with its convenience too, like I mentioned, Boston and New York, and people investing in this area. But look at how easy it is to get to different areas, whether it's airlines, train, highway, water. There's a lot of access to places. So Rhode Island tends to be a really great hub, being centrally located for a lot of great reasons.
Cool. So are you the president of HomeSmart, the franchisor? Or the
No, I'm a franchisee. It's a
Okay.
national company based out of Arizona.
Okay.
And I was one of the early adopters to the franchise when it began franchising about 10 years ago.
Okay.
We've been now 7 years in Rhode Island.
What and so in 2000 you were a KW franchise. You bought a KW franchise?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What caused you to sell or do you still own the KW franchise, or did you sell that?
I don't own that. I opened Keller Williams with a really great group of people back in 2000, and I was there just over 13 years. Great to be part of it. Great to see it grow and help it evolve. But I just reached a point in my career where I saw that there was a need for change. I saw the market evolving, and I was looking for new models and ways to adapt within the industry. And I found the HomeSmart model, which really allows agents to just retain more of their hard-earned money. They're out there in the field pounding the pavement, and their income is important. And with HomeSmart's flat fee model, agents don't have to be in a commission split environment where they're leaving money on the table. And while it's not just about the flat fee model, HomeSmart allows me to provide our agents the technology, tools, education, and overall overall what we call the experience that is HomeSmart, the environment where they can flourish as a business owner, running their business as they see fit, and allowing them to retain that earnings in order to invest where they see fit. So I saw that need for change as the market evolved, and looked into that opportunity and grew from there.
When did you stop being a producer, like producing and closing deals? Like when did you stop?
Ultimately just about 3 years ago. I transitioned out of full-time sales. I'll still do a handful of transactions a year just to stay relevant. So I know what the guys are doing, what they're dealing with in the field. Ultimately, any broker needs to know what everyone's going through in the marketplace. You need to be able to relate. But ultimately about 3 years ago.
Got it. Cool. Wow. So you've seen a lot of booms and busts in your day.
Yes, for sure. For sure. We've grown rather quickly. The model is becoming much more prevalent across the country. We're at 240 agents here in Rhode Island in just 7 years. So I've had to adapt quickly, scaling with our business and our team and the services.
Like the big value propositions is the commission model, but what like tactically are you guys doing to recruit agents? Is it prospecting on their phone, Facebook ads, email? Like what's the blocking and tackling of getting them and pushing that message out there?
Yeah, fortunately, a model like ours is driven by word of mouth. We've been fortunate to grow organic here locally, and when we look at the organic growth, our agents, the key is we provide everything that we promise. When people walk in the door, they will tell their friends, right? So we rely on our agents to spread the word. If they're happy with what we're providing, we want them to just tell people in the industry. So we've been fortunate that our agents are telling other people about their experience here at HomeSmart, and ultimately it leads to people inquiring and wanting to know more, and ultimately that organic growth.
So I noticed on the HomeSmart website, I believe for the franchisor, they said that you can get to 100 agents in your office in the first year. So when you have no brand equity in a community and you launch a new office, how are they getting that message out there to people, about what their value proposition is?
I think there are various ways that, you can market a value proposition, email campaigns, marketing in general. HomeSmart does a great job of allowing us to have the marketing tools that we need to spread the word. But ultimately they're supporting that activity on a national level. They provide services that allow us to tap into to take advantage of services like handling incoming calls and fielding calls and sourcing those types of interviews and what have you when it comes to the growth aspect of things. They provide a lot of what we'll call centralized services. that will allow us to tap into, which allowed me to scale, you know, properly. You know, I mean, ultimately, you need to scale your business, you need to scale your team as the company grows, and they provide services to allow that before you just take on a new hire. You can transition as you grow.
How many agents do you have to get an office to before you become profitable?
You know, I think it depends on what the P&L looks like, right? When we opened the doors, I looked at a pro forma and I looked at what the numbers were. I mean, ultimately, when you're on a flat fee model, the agents are retaining more of their money. But you know, so we have a flat fee plus a monthly fee, right? When you look at that model in relation to the P&L, when I broke it all out, I actually came up with the number of 66 agents, based the way I formulated it, based on current rents and office space and expenses and what we have here, because every market's going to be different. But my pro forma showed 66 agents as where you needed to be in order to ensure that you covered expenses and you know, had some flexibility in there. And we did grow to 100 agents in our first year. We opened the doors with 38 agents when we started.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So with, you know, I imagine, obviously, you know, it's definitely an agent count game, both from the franchisor and the franchisee's perspective. How is HomeSmart competing with companies like Zillow and Redfin and Opendoor, who are, you know, investing, you know, $100 million per year in technology, and agents can open up a lockbox using the Redfin app and they launched that in Boston. I don't know if you saw that in the news, but Redfin launched a tool on their app where you can open up the lockbox and you can make an offer without an agent in Redfin, without an agent using the Redfin app. What's HomeSmart doing to, you know, compete with all these extra shiny objects for the consumer?
Well, I think the key is, you know, I mean, what do you want to compete with, right? You know, so each company is going to offer its own value proposition. The HomeSmart model caters to real estate professionals who are full-time in many cases, if not, you know, somewhat full-time, because we respect the fact that some people have other jobs as well, right? Dual careers. But generally speaking, the program is designed to support agents who are full-time, full customer service-based real estate agents. So HomeSmart's goal is to grow with agents who are running a business, provide them that opportunity, and help educate them and help them grow their careers. I don't think that every model should be out there trying to compete with the model of remote or lockbox or no agent involved. I mean, ultimately, we're an agent-based business. You know, we're looking to grow agents' careers, not eliminate the agent from the transaction.
Do you have any concerns with what a lot of these now Wall Street funded companies are doing to eliminate agents and minimize their role?
You know, I mean, ultimately, the concern is always real. You know, there are new models coming into the business every day, and I always say, you know, ultimately, everyone needs to decide where they feel they need to be. That's what's important to them as practitioners. I think that the more as the realtor organization, when you look at NAR, right? The realtor organization needs to continue to support the realtors in promoting the value of a realtor in a transaction. The need for that human interaction and that component, we feel, will always be there, because you can source a property online. Yes, you can write an offer online. You can maybe access a lockbox. But at the end of the day, it's the consultation that the client needs in order to be able to know what their options are, how to navigate a transaction. So we're confident that the need for the realtor will remain for a considerable amount of time, if not long term, because people rely on that human interaction. So how do we compete with that? We ultimately provide the support that a consumer needs, and the guidance, the consultation aspect of it. Not everybody needs a realtor, involved. I mean, people are buying homes remotely, right? They're buying them virtually. There are many people that have bought and sold without that human interaction. But the common denominator for most of the buyers and sellers in real estate, they like having that that confidant in the industry.
So you've been in the industry 32 years, and I imagine for all 32 years, people are always worried about the agent getting replaced. Has there ever been so much disruption in the industry over the past 30 years as there has been over just the past 5?
No, there's disruption, right? But on different scales. And yeah, so I was in the industry as the computer was evolving, and we walked away, from the MLS books back when there was such a thing. I always say we were the keeper of the information. We held on to that book, and nobody could have it. It even wrote on the cover, "Do not remove from office," right? So the consumer had to come to a realtor in order to find out what was available. So, there was a time that just the computer aspect of it, it's like, whoa, we're giving the public information. They don't need us. Well, they don't need us for information. Buyers are finding houses long before the realtor even knows that they exist. They're just calling their realtor to go look at it and to get the advice they need. So, so there have been times where you say, what's happening? Is the need for the realtor being replaced? And even technology, right? They say, real estate agents aren't being replaced by technology, but the agents who are using technology will eliminate those that are not. And that's the difference. So, the key is having that human component, that consultant, and utilize the technology to get the information you need.
What if, do you have any opinions on like what's going on with EXP? I mean, they seem like they're blowing up, and then KW launched KW Command. Like, what's your opinion on some? That's your former
Yeah.
group, and then obviously EXP has like got a lot of ex KW people. What's your opinion on what's going on with those guys?
Again, like anything, different business models, right? EXP has grown exponentially. There's a lot of opportunity there for the people who want that type of opportunity, that downline aspect. You look at KW has the same thing with profit sharing, just in a different measure. Ultimately, again, every model is unique, and everybody needs to decide the model they're in. I was pleased with Keller Williams. I was glad to be part of its growth. And I think it serves a need for a certain personality and a certain type of agent in the marketplace. It's not good or bad. EXP is a little bit more virtual. They don't boast brick and mortar locations, walk into an office, go see your broker, what have you. Everything's virtually based, but it has its benefits as well. So I don't think anything's good or bad. It's just a matter of what works for you.
Do you think most brokerages are going to move virtual? Like, what does the future look like in your opinion for most real estate brokerages?
I don't think brokerages are moving virtual. I mean, we're a brick and mortar company. Our structure is designed with our headquarters location, and we have 2 branch locations in other parts of the state. And, a branch location is, call it a satellite office. It allows an agent a place to work when they need to work, and a place to meet clients when they need to meet clients. But at the end of the day, you don't need administrative staff at the branch locations. I think the consumer, at least in our marketplace, the consumer still respects the visibility of the brand. Where's your office? Now, Chris, let's look at it. Rhode Island's a tiny place, right? But it's all mindset of the consumer. So we can go from one end of the state to another in 45 minutes in the car, but the consumer wants to know that you have a location nearby. So when you look at that mindset, where's your office located? We can be 30 minutes away, but they think it's a world away. So is it the market, or is it the marketplace? But I think ultimately agents like being part of something bigger than themselves. They like having a place to go to if they need to meet with somebody, or they need some support, or they're taking a class. But at the end of the day, our agents aren't coming to the office. They'll come in when they need something, or to meet with a client, or they'll meet with the client at their house. But I don't think the need for brick and mortar is going to go away anytime soon. It just will go away for those that don't need it, right? So the mindset, when you look at the number of agents, over 5,000 agents in Rhode Island, how many of them are actually active with their license? That's just registered, right? How many of those are working another job, or how many of those are killing it and doing 2, 3, 4 dozen sales a year, right? You evolve to the need of the consumer and your client. Our agents are our clients, and our goal is to provide them what they need, whether it's remotely. Everything we do is servicing them remotely, but we have the added benefit of them being able to come in if they need to. No company should think about, well, we'll discuss that only at our next business meeting, right? People aren't coming to the business meetings. We do all of our business meetings remotely. Much of our education is done remotely, especially this past year. right? But we need to communicate with the entire agent base. If we have 50 agents come to a business meeting, that means that 200 didn't hear what we said. So, if they're not coming in on a regular basis, then we need to communicate to the masses and then, share additional information or reiterate it when we have meetings and classes.
COVID-19, how do you see that impacted real estate? You mentioned training moving virtually. Any other impacts as a result of COVID-19?
At least right now, we're seeing that the restrictions are being lifted. We're adapting to the new restrictions where masks are now optional in the state of Rhode Island. So, where we continue to navigate it, changed so quickly just in the past couple of weeks. But what we did learn, especially in 2020, was the ability to be remote. You look at this is being done, this conversation is being done through Zoom, right? People resisted technology, agents, clients, the video in general. And, this past year, everybody was forced to do it. We have some of our admin team that are remote, some that are in-house. What we did learn is how productive and how effective we can be virtually. So, where is it heading? I think, people are more mindful of their surroundings. And I think many people who put their desire to move in a stall position are now starting to say, you know what? I think it's time to move, and they're taking advantage of the market. We had one of the busiest years ever last year. Our company did over 2,300 transactions last year. And, it was really busy in a year that you thought that everybody was hunkering down and not moving. It continued. Now, as we evolve, people are finding their place.
Dean, you were a practicing agent for quite a while. What advice do you give to agents that join HomeSmart to build their business?
Advice as an agent, I think the key to any successful career is to focus on the client, and the money will follow. That's my number one recommendation. And also caring. I think the key to success in real estate, it's people lose sight of it. They think we're in sales. We're not in sales. We are business owners. Any realtor, any practicing licensee is a business owner. They're running a business, building a career that is in the customer service industry. They think they're in sales. So in the customer service industry, they just happen to be working with buyers and sellers of real estate. So the consumer truly doesn't care how much you know, and you've heard the expression, they don't care how much you know until they know that you care. And, I say we can teach anybody anything they need to know about building a career in real estate, servicing consumers, but we can't teach them how to care. That's personal, that's inherent. So ultimately they need to come with caring, lead with caring.
So real estate agent, let's say they move from Texas to Rhode Island. They don't know a soul. And they say, Dean, how do I get my first few customers so I can share with them how much I care? What's the tackling and blocking to get some clients?
Great question, because that is going to come down. If you don't have a sphere of influence, our baseline education is to teach people how to build their business through their sphere of influence, because too many people go out and they buy leads and they just start prospecting and cold calling, and they lose sight of that personal sphere of influence that they have, that they really can capitalize on. In that example you mentioned, Chris, folks who don't have a sphere of influence, there are opportunities to purchase leads. There are a lot of resources to do things like that. And ultimately getting out there to places now that we can get back out there. Last year, I might not have been able to advise this, right? But networking, getting out there in public, creating new contacts, creating relationships, because at the end of the day, at least in our market, and I think in most, people want a relationship. They want to work with somebody that they can relate to, that they can communicate with, and they feel comfortable with. So, you can go out and buy leads, you can go out and do open houses, what have you, but it's the relationship that's going to fuel that business long term.
What prompted you to want to apply to be the president of the board of Realtors?
That was evolution. Great question. So people say, what were you thinking? Well, you know what? the industry has been so good to me. And I think any involvement in the boards of realtors, whether it's locally or nationally, statewide, local boards of realtors, it all comes down to passion for what we do. I've been fortunate to have a very successful career in real estate. And, I got involved on a local level at the local board of realtors and evolved and went up the ranks, if you will, became president of the local board of realtors back in 2008. And eventually I stepped away from involvement a little bit because, life has a way of getting in the way. And when I got back involved, I just saw the need for leadership. There's not enough volunteer leadership out there, and it is volunteerism, and I guess that's the downside. There are many people who are passionate about it, but have the obligations that prevent them from being able to volunteer that time. So, but I was able to do so. I'm very involved in the boards, still involved in the boards and committees, and just evolved through the ranks and grew to that point. So it was a really great time for me to be able to lead the organization. Let's be honest, the organization runs itself. As president or in any leadership role, our role is to lead the membership, right? To assure the membership of what's going on in the marketplace, communicate with them, make sure everybody knows what they have at their fingertips when it comes to tools and resources as realtors.
Were there some benefits that came accidentally as the president of a local board?
I think visibility. I think while I've been involved for so many years and fairly visible in my marketplace, I think that also added to that visibility because I met a lot of great people, even nationally. When you go regionally into the boards of realtors or the regional group, and then national, I was involved in some national committees. So you find relationships are formed on a higher level when you're involved in leadership, because you're going to certain meetings. You got the conventions, the national meetings. I was on the board of directors for the National Association of Realtors, so I was involved in voting on decisions that impacted the organization and the industry. So I think that's the accidental benefit is new relationships at a much bigger scale.
Cool. Dean, curious. So you've been in the industry a long time. You're a successful agent. If you had a client come to you with a lot of money, where would you tell them to invest? Where are you investing? Where are you putting money?
Yeah. Ultimately, people have to be comfortable with what their investments are, right? Real estate is always a sound investment. I know that sounds biased because I'm in real estate, but I've been an investor of real estate for a number of years. Ultimately anybody needs to have their own personal portfolios and rely on investment counselors for things like of that nature. But I'm a big believer in real estate. So I've stayed primarily with investments in real estate.
What do you buy? Commercial, multifamily? What are you investing in?
Multifamily more so. I over the years have overseen many residential units as a landlord. I haven't gotten into the commercial realm of things at this point.
Do you buy primarily in Rhode Island?
Yes.
And
Yes, I think there's a benefit to being close to what your investments are.
What kind of cap rate would you expect on a deal in Rhode Island on multifamily?
So cap rates are all over the place right now, and when you look, especially with vacancies, I can't say that I would have a set expectation if it's a long-term investment rate. But I've seen cap rates anywhere between 8.5 and 10.5, depending on the market. I haven't bought anything in the past few years. So, I haven't had to have a strict rule on that recently, but
Yeah,
the market will indicate that need for sure.
Do you see a market correction coming?
Yes, people ask all the time, do we see a bubble? Are we going to heading for another bubble? All indicators are showing us that we are not heading for another bubble. We are not expecting that to take place. But when you look at it, it's got to correct at some point, right? We've seen over the past couple of months, when you look at the number of listings that are coming into the market versus the number of pendings, for a number of months, we saw that less new listings were coming to the market than were going under agreement in that same month. We recently saw that shifted, where we have more listings coming to the market than those that are going pending. So we're seeing a trend with that, and hopefully that's an escalation. We have, again, just under 750 single family homes on the market in the entire state, and that was well under 700 just a few months ago. So when we talk market correction, what is that catalyst for that market correction? We came into the economy, this recent economy, if you will, economic status, with a strong real estate market. The last bubble we had, it was the real estate market that drove the economic issues. So, we're not seeing that, we're expecting a bubble, but, a correction is always due. This too shall pass, as we say. I thought I had seen every market transition over 32 years, but, we can see that this is yet one new market and one variation of what could happen.
Dean, I have two final questions for you before we close out.
Yeah, sure.
The show is called CEO Secrets. I'd like to know what's been your greatest secret to the success in your career over the last 32 years. And my last question is, you've been very politically correct when I brought up some things about some competitors.
Always.
What is the most, and the second question is, what's the most controversial thing you think will happen over the next 12 to 24 months? Or what's the, or potentially what's a prediction you have about some company potentially, filing bankruptcy or failing or falling apart? I'm going to extract some controversy out of you. So answer those two questions so we can end the show on a high note.
I don't know that you're going to be able to extract that out of me, Chris, but it's worth a shot. I applaud you for trying. I don't know that there's a secret for me. I'm an open book. One of the things that drives me is that I care deeply. And ultimately the key is, when you focus on, I tell all the agents, it's going to trickle to me as a broker. I tell all the agents, focus on the client, the money will follow. Well, in my role as a broker and any broker out there, our agents are our clients. So when we focus on our agents, ultimately success follows. So the not so secret is, truly care about everything you're doing and care about the people involved and engage with them and make sure that they know that you've got their back. And too many people lose sight of that. As brokers, how many agents do I have that call me and ask me a question and they can't believe I actually took their call or I responded to them on a Sunday night, or they're like, my last broker just was never available. And anytime I call, you get back to me. And they're out there in the field. They need the support. They need the coaching, and you need to be available. So it's a not so secret, but it's unfortunately an overseen art. People overlook it, I should say.
That was servant's hearts.
Yes, that's exactly right. Servant leadership. And that's whether it's the employees, the administrative team, or the agents. I mean, ultimately you need to have their back and you need to support what they're doing every day.
All right, now for the most controversial part of the whole show, give me something that it will be a big surprise, like the company failing or some predictor everybody would not have expected.
I can't say that I can predict something like that. I broke my crystal ball my first week in real estate, so I don't have any predictions in that regard. Now, you mentioned I was politically correct. I mean, ultimately, I truly do believe that there are a lot of models out there, and there's the need for another model. Because when I brought Keller Williams to the state, I knew there was a need for another model. It was always the same old, same old. When I brought HomeSmart to the state, same thing. It's like, there's room for more models, and quite frankly, we're seeing more, locally and nationally. Whether it's Real Brokerage, EXP, those are the most recent. Couple of other companies that have started up, and local independents. Sometimes I wonder why people open an independent shop, and I debated that when I was opening HomeSmart. I believe in a franchise. I believe the real estate tools have already been invented. Why would I reinvent the wheel? And I want to tap into those services. But ultimately, wherever you go, there you are, and you need to believe in what you need. And I can't say that I can predict any other disruptions other than change will happen. New businesses will evolve. New companies will come into the market. Summer, it's an ocean state, right? That's our thing. So summer is the best time to enjoy all of the waterfront, all of the activities. Personally, I think fall is my favorite time of year because, it's just cooling off. You got the foliage. There's a lot to be seen, throughout New England, and it's just a drive away. So, but yeah, summer, fall is ideal.
Cool. And what's the best way for people to reach out to you, Dean?
Best way to reach me, my website is The Rhode Home, Rhode as in Rhode Island, the RHODE home.com. And my email is dean@leadingyouhome, all spelled out. And we're HomeSmart Professionals here in Rhode Island.
Cool. I'll put that in the show notes. Dean, thanks so much for being on CEO Secrets.
Chris,
It's been
I
a pleasure
appreciate your
getting to know
time.
you.
Thanks
Yeah,
for the invite.
next time I'm up there, I'm gonna ping you. I'm gonna hit you up.
I would love that. Yeah, please do.
All right, sounds great.
All right.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to CEO Secrets. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and tune in next time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks again.